Healy. Like,
Yeah.
are you hoping to get her in the game tomorrow?
Yes.
And if so, like, what can a player like that do just to add another wrinkle?
Yeah. Well, she's a really great shooter and really good playmaker. She's really smart, and we could use some of that. And so, just another punch off the bench. We haven't shot it well in a couple weeks. She's someone I have confidence in that can knock down shots.
Listen to how casually LA Sparks coach Lynn Roberts just talked about Kate Martin, like she'd cracked a code. And if you're an Indiana Fever fan watching this unfold, that calm tone should worry you. This isn't just Kate Martin coming off the practice squad. This is about what happens next, once all the pieces click into place.
Look like the reports could possibly be true. That is Caitlin Clark being done with the Indiana Fever. Now, the Los Angeles Sparks has been making noise behind the scenes. Lynn Roberts just finished up a press conference a few hours ago, and it looked even more damn spooky. I'm telling you right now, do not be surprised if the news come out, because I'm going to be tracking this thing like a hawk, and I got to be honest with you. It ain't no place like Hollywood, bruh. LA is a big market. A lot of stars out there. Now, LeBron isn't there anymore. But one thing I can tell you, Caitlin Clark...
Now let's break down the facts. The Sparks made it official. Kate Martin just signed a standard WNBA deal with LA. She spent the start of the season in the player pool, basically the taxi squad, and now she's suited up on the real roster. Sounds routine, right? Except January signings almost never happen. Rosters are locked by now. Teams don't shuffle players around when they're this deep into a rough season, unless they're planning something. And this isn't just any player. This is Caitlin Clark's old Iowa teammate, getting activated right after Jason Whitlock dropped the rumor that Clark herself might land in LA. The timing is too clean to ignore. And the way Lynn Roberts is talking about it, that's where things get really interesting.
Really great shooter and really good playmaker. She's really smart, and we could use some of that. And so, just another punch off the bench. We haven't shot it well in a couple weeks. She's someone I have confidence in that can knock down shots. Just another body that wants to get out there. She hasn't played in a while, so I know she's gonna be hungry.
Great shooter, smart playmaker, high IQ. That's exactly how Roberts describes Kate Martin. But here's the thing. That description fits someone else too. Someone who played alongside Martin for 4 straight years at Iowa. Someone who just had the biggest rookie season the WNBA has ever seen. And someone who, according to several reports, might already be looking for a way out of Indiana. So here's what the Sparks might really be doing. And honestly, it's either genius or way too obvious. Bring in the best friend first. Build comfort. Build familiarity. It's the exact same move NBA teams pull when chasing a superstar. Surround them with people they trust, and suddenly the decision isn't just about basketball anymore.
Earlier today, the Sparks signed Kate Martin to a standing contract. Now, in a press conference that we're about to listen to in a little bit, Lynn Roberts speak about why they signed Kate Martin to this contract. Says Kate Martin began the Sparks season as a member of the team's player and development pool. Now she's back as a contracted WNBA player. The team announced this on the 6th, which was yesterday. Now, this right here is making big time news. And many people were saying this is a clear indicator that Caitlin Clark...
Check out how fans are reacting online. One comment nails it. If they've got a coach who trusts her playmakers, I hope Caitlin Clark follows. Another one doesn't even hold back. This screams Clark is coming. But not everyone's convinced. Some Sparks fans are confused, even annoyed. One wrote, Martin's already shown her ceiling, hard pass. Another called the move a head-scratcher, pointing out that Martin barely played in Indiana. So why bring her in now? Unless she was never the real target. Unless Kate Martin is just the setup, and the real story is still coming.
And Ray Burrell, both in their own ways, showing a lot of passion that they really want this. Erica telling me that she's very frustrated. She got to be a better leader. Ray Burrell, I could see it on her face. She graciously did the interview with me, but I could tell it was still affecting her. When you think about the passion that these players have and their want to, how do you marry that with the execution that you just talked about in this film session to actually win games?
Yeah, and that's the issue right now is the ability to push through and get out of our own way on some level. But there's an element of toughness and effort that isn't consistent. And last night we just looked disconnected. Maybe that's because we sat out 8 days, didn't play. But I don't like using excuses. We got to be better. We're pros. We all have a job to do. We got to show up and do it better. And like I've said many, many times, the good news is today it's all about Indiana. We got to turn the page, learn from what we learned from what we saw last night. But that's not going to win any games. The level of connectedness, the max, second and third efforts. If we don't have those, it's not going to be good. But we have the talent needed, even with KP out, even with Cam out.
Something strange is brewing inside the LA Sparks locker room. And if you're a fan of the Indiana Fever, you need to pay very close attention right now. This isn't a small story. This isn't some random roster move that means nothing. This is the kind of thing that, when you connect all the dots, starts to look like a plan. A real plan. And it all starts with one name nobody expected to matter this much. Kate Martin. Yesterday, the Sparks made it official. Kate Martin signed a standard WNBA contract with LA. She started this season buried in the player development pool, which is basically the practice squad, the group of players who train with the team but don't suit up on game day. Now, suddenly, she's active. She's on the real roster. On paper, that sounds like nothing. Teams promote players all the time, right? Except this move is happening in January, when rosters are basically frozen. It's happening on a team that is struggling badly and needs answers fast. And it's happening to Caitlin Clark's old Iowa teammate right as rumors start swirling that Clark herself might be looking for a way out of Indiana. That timing is not normal. And once you hear how the Sparks head coach is talking about all of this, it gets even harder to ignore. Let's start with what Coach Lynn Roberts is saying about her own team, because this is where the Real story begins. She's been blunt. She says there's a toughness and effort problem that isn't consistent, that her team looked disconnected in recent games, that the level of connection, the second and third efforts, just aren't there. This is a head coach going public and admitting her team is missing the mental edge it needs to compete. She's not hiding it. She's not blaming injuries. She's flat out saying the culture needs to change, and it needs to change now. Then she says something that should make every Fever fan a little uneasy. She says the talent is already there, even with players missing, to be far more competitive than they've shown. Read that carefully. She's not saying the roster lacks skill. She's saying the execution is broken, the mentality is broken. And you know what fixes a broken mentality overnight? Bringing in the biggest name in women's basketball. Someone who makes every teammate better just by being on the floor. Someone who drags an entire fan base along with her and forces everyone else to rise to her level just to keep up. And LA needs that boost badly. The Sparks are sitting at 3 wins and 9 losses, near the bottom of the league standings, playing in front of half-empty arenas in one of the largest media markets on the planet. They've got the stadium. They've got the market. They've even got courtside star power available now that other big names aren't dominating headlines. What they don't have is a reason for casual fans to care. And Caitlin Clark is exactly that reason. Now here's where it gets interesting. Roberts talked about mixing bench players into the rotation, guys like Kate Martin, along with a few others, to keep energy up during games. And her message to them was simple. Bring life off the bench, play with confidence, execute your role, stay locked in, live in the moment. That's next play mentality talk. That's the kind of mental toughness a team needs when it's struggling. But here's the catch. That description doesn't really fit Kate Martin. Kate Martin is a solid, reliable role player. A good teammate. Someone who does her job quietly. But changing the entire emotional identity of a franchise. That's not role player language. That's superstar language. That's Caitlin Clark language. Roberts is describing a problem that Kate Martin alone simply cannot fix. But you know what could fix it? Kate Martin, plus the one player she has always played her best basketball next to. The player who carried Iowa to back-to-back national championship games. The player who broke the all-time NCAA scoring record. The player who single-handedly pulled millions of new eyes onto women's college basketball. Roberts also opened up about trying new substitution patterns. rotating players like a hockey line change to keep legs fresh, spreading minutes across the roster since the team is missing key bodies. And she talked at length about one of her highest-paid signings struggling under pressure, saying that player needs to take things one small piece at a time instead of getting overwhelmed by the big picture, that she's an achiever who puts too much weight on her own shoulders, and that Roberts is trying to take some of that pressure off her. Now stop and think about what that really means. Roberts is actively trying to lighten the load for her stars. And what makes that job easier? Adding another elite playmaker who can share the burden. Someone who runs the offense, creates easy looks for others, and draws so much defensive attention that everyone else suddenly looks better. The Sparks have the cap space. They have the market. What they're missing is the one player who changes everything, and it sure looks like they're setting the table for her arrival. Then came the moment that really got fans talking. A reporter asked Roberts specifically about Kate Martin, what she brings to the table. Roberts called her a great shooter, a smart playmaker, someone who can knock down open shots and bring a spark off the bench. All fair praise, but notice the language. Another punch off the bench. Someone who provides a boost. That's depth talk. That's not build the franchise around her talk. Then the reporter pushed further, asking if Martin could become more of an offensive hub off the bench. Roberts hesitated. She said they'd have to see how it goes since Martin is deep on the roster and her playing time will be limited. That is not how you talk about a cornerstone piece. That is how you talk about a player serving a very different purpose, someone brought in to make a bigger star feel comfortable. And then came the real bombshell. A reporter asked Roberts directly about facing Indiana next, and whether Caitlin Clark would even be playing. Roberts said they wouldn't know until game day, that they'd already faced Indiana once with Clark and once without, so they'd seen both versions of that team. Then the reporter asked the key question, does it matter at this stage of the season whether Clark plays or not? Roberts answered no. She said, not to take anything away from her, she's a phenomenal talent, but for where the Sparks are right now, it doesn't change their approach at all. Read between those lines. A coach downplaying how much Caitlin Clark affects a game, right after her team activated Clark's closest friend, right when rumors are heating up about a possible Indiana exit. That is not a coincidence. That is strategy. You don't publicly gush over a player you're hoping to recruit. You play it cool. You act unbothered. You make it look like you're only focused on your own roster, not tampering with someone else's franchise player. But actions speak louder than words, and the timing here tells its own story. Think about the money angle too. Roberts admitted that once players start earning real money, expectations rise, and there's no way around that pressure except pushing straight through it. Now picture Caitlin Clark sitting in Indiana on a rookie contract, earning a fraction of her actual value, playing in a smaller market, dealing with whatever internal tension has fans speculating she might miss games. Meanwhile, LA offers massive cap space, huge endorsement potential, and the kind of entertainment machine that turns athletes into global brands overnight. The basketball fit is there. The financial incentive is obvious. And now the personal incentive has arrived too, in the form of her best friend already wearing a Sparks jersey. So here's the real question. Are the Sparks bold enough to actually pull this off? And is Caitlin Clark frustrated enough with her current situation to seriously consider it? Nobody outside those two organizations knows for sure yet. But every piece being placed on the board right now points toward one very big possibility, and it is impossible to ignore anymore. If you think this Kate Martin signing is more than just a roster move, drop your prediction in the comments right now. Do you think Caitlin Clark ends up in LA, or does she stay in Indiana? Hit that like button, share this with another basketball fan who needs to see it, and subscribe so you don't miss the moment this story breaks wide open. Stay locked in, because this one is far from over.